Welcome back to the PhoneGap Essentials course on NetTuts Plus Premium. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at three different APIs. The Device API, which gives us information on the device, the Connection API, which gives us information on the connection, and the Notifications API, which allows us to use visual, audible, and tactile device notifications. This would include native alert boxes, sound alerts, and the vibration alert. From the Device API, we can gauge the device's name, which version of Cordova we're using, the device platform, the device's unique identification number, its version, and the model. From Connection, we can find out what type of connection the phone is using, whether it be Wi-Fi, 3G, Ethernet, or none at all. And with Notifications, we have access to the alert box, a confirm box which has two buttons, the device beep sound, and the device's vibrate function. Let's open up Eclipse, or Xcode, and try some of them out. The only file we'll need to touch for this lesson is the index.js file. From the onDeviceReady function, let's fire off a function called getDeviceInfo. The device info object, which contains all of the device info variables, can be accessed at any time using the device object dot the name of the variable you want to access. So let's get some of these variables and print them out to our test zone div. Once again, if this seems like a lot of code, it's really very simple. We're accessing the inner HTML of our test zone div, and we're just printing a long string to that div. Device name is device.name. Device Cordova is device.cordova. This is the version of Cordova. It's really very simple and goes on like this. We're going to be printing out the platform information, the UUID, and the version number. And here's our application running. As you can see, it's printed out the different pieces of information we were asking for. In this case, the device name says SDK. This is because we're using the emulator. Obviously, this information could be very useful if you need to target specific information or functionality to specific platforms. Now let's check out our connection type. We're going to call another function, app.getConnectionInfo. This time, to get the information we need, we have to access the navigator object. We're going to create a new variable called network state and set it equal to navigator.connection.type. Next, we're going to create an array of all of the different possible connection states. The reason we do this is because Cordova returns to us with an ID representing the various types of connection. The ID is held in these constants, connection.ethernet, connection.wifi. But the actual string contained in connection.wifi is not user-friendly, so we're going to set each of these equal to a user-friendly description of the connection. Then, when we go to set the inner HTML of our test zone, we can write the connection type in a user-friendly way. Let's export this and see if it works. As you can see, at the end of our device information, we've added in the message connection type equals cell 3G connection. Finally, to show off the notifications, we're going to run a notification chain. Because I want to show both types of notifications, it's basically going to be one notification that calls the next. To open an alert box, we need to call the navigator.notificationAlert function. An alert function consists of 4 parameters. There's the message, which is a string. There's the function that we call when the user clicks the button. There's the title of the alert box. And finally, there's the name of the button. Before we try this out in the emulator, we need to add in an empty function called alertDismissed. We'll fill this out in a second, but let's just make sure it's working. Our application is loaded up, and it's instantly opened the alert box. When we click Next, nothing will happen because we still need to define the alertDismissed function. When our alert is dismissed, let's call up a confirm box. Using navigator.notification.confirm, we create another message. We have another callback function called onConfirm in this case, and we also have a title. What is different is the button section. Instead of defining only one button name, like the alert box had, a confirm box can have more than one button. I've defined a yes button and a no button, separated by a comma. Later on, in the onConfirm function, we can differentiate which button was pressed. I've just put our onConfirm function in here already, although it is empty. You'll notice that unlike the alert dismissed function, we actually pass a variable. This includes the index of the button that was pressed. So let's see that one in action. This is the alert box, which instantly calls the confirm box. Now in our confirm box we're going to run a series of beeps and vibrations to try out the last two parts of our notifications API. Inside our onConfirm function, we're going to test the index using an if-else statement. This is to find out which button was pressed. Index 2 is actually the no button. If the no button is pressed, we're just going to open up another alert box. If the yes button is pressed, however, we're going to use navigator.notification.beep and navigator.notification.vibrate to create some beeps and a vibration of the phone. To test out the beeps and the vibration, I'm going to have to export this application on a real device. I'm going to export to my Samsung Galaxy S2 that I have plugged in. As you can see, it's opened up the alert box. If we hit next, it asks us if we want to play some beeps. If we press yes, it beeps twice and then vibrates for 2.5 seconds. Well, that's all for this lesson. Check back in for lesson 7, where we'll be exploring the accelerometer API. Ciao!